Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to some sprints. I am working on Sir Callie and the Witches' War. I did not want to pick it up. I spent so much time trying to figure out what I was going to read. And then, where are you, silly? And then I was like, I really need to read this, and I don't want to because I know it's going to be emotional and rough, but I also know that once I pick it back up, I'm going to enjoy it. So we picked it back up. And y'all, she here. Look it, she here. The people want to see your face. There you go. Do you see that? She looked right at you. She's very happy. Very happy. If and when I ever actually get her back to the vet, I would not be at all surprised if they put her on a diet. You're such a chunky monkey. Hang on, you're caught. There you go. Your dirty butt. You need to clean your butt, baby. And Phoenix is here, which I'm really glad about because I forgot to text you. And Amanda said, "Hey, I have so much to do, and everyone in the house is slowly getting sicker and sicker, including me. Oh, that's rough. That's not good." And Phoenix said, "Hey, to Amanda, and that sucks for you and the fam. Hope you all are okay and get better soon." Yes, I hope it's not a long sickness. Phoenix is sleep deprived and without AC. It was tripping off at the plug, and I'm not risking another melted outlet or possible fire. I agree that you should absolutely not risk it, but it stinks that you don't have air conditioning because I know how hot it is. And Amanda said, "Hey, Phoenix, I can just feel it in the back of my throat and nose, so I'm suffering a bit. So I can only imagine how the poor kids feel." No, you cannot steal my hair tie. Phoenix has taken over. Cielo has taken over, and Phoenix said, "Cielo!" Yes, Cielo. It's been so long, beautiful. Yes. Sweet girl, always lovely to see your face, Cielo. Yeah. And Phoenix is glad you're visiting. Oop, I think I heard a purr in there. Thank you, headphones. Yeah, she's purring. That's for sure. Yeah. Direct it that way. Direct your purrs that way. They want to hear you. Say hi. She's so heavy, y'all. Amanda said, "Oh no, Phoenix, I hate that so much for you. Hopefully something can be figured out to allow you to cool down a bit." What do you think? You want some treats? You want some treats? I don't want to say my cat is food motivated. Ah, that was my finger. She bit my finger. Here, Bugs. There you go, Buggy. Okay, everybody's had some. She legitimately tried to take my finger off. She probably doesn't need treats. She needs a treadmill. So that's the funny thing. I thought I heard the sound of a text message coming through, but like a ghost sound of it, and suddenly had the idea you were sprinting, and sure enough, you were. See, the universe is looking out for us. See, that doesn't mean steal, but she started stealing Bugsy's treats. Amanda said, "There it is." But there was no text. It was so strange, but worked out well. It did. Cat purrs are the best. They are. Close up of our girl. Yeah, I got her right up there in the camera. Your cat is totally food motivated. I'll say it for you. That she is. That she is. Like I said, she needs to clean her butt. But I'm worried she can't reach her butt because of how chunky monkey she is. I'd like to catch her cleaning it so that I know she actually can. My slumlord keeps saying he can't find an electrician, which I could believe. None will work with him. It's almost like he's not a good person, and people know that he's not a good person and don't want to go there again. So yeah, my plan is to finish this tonight. I have just under 6 hours, which is like 4 sprints. So I should be able to finish this and maybe even start something else or work on something else. The fun thing is I had to listen to this because I figured out one of the prompts for Herkiad, the one where you have to like read a book, and whatever book, like if it, like this one for instance ends in R, I would need to read a book that starts with R, and so on and so forth. And I'm able to do it with my TBR this month. And I want to do it like back to back to back to back to back. However, this is the 4th book in this series is one of those books, so I have to read and finish this one first. So I'll probably move on to the first book in that chain so I can work on that and get that done, because one of them is Realm of Lost Spirits. So I finished Breakers of the Code this morning, and then book 3 is on there. So I would be able to finish the Braveland series and the Sir Kali series with that prompt. Plus, I have Big Bad Wolf Yom Kippur, because that one is one of my... And she found... Look at see? She found more treats. I'm just checking to make sure that she hadn't popped them before and there aren't ants in there. No, you've had... Now she's hitting buttons. Keep down. No more treats for the chunky monkey kitty. You've got treat dust in your fur. They don't want to close. I'll deal with them in a minute. No, you can't. No. 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 Oh, geez. And anyways, I would be reading Big Bad Wolf Yom Kippur as well, and that's on my FaceTime TBR, so I kind of need to get to it, you know? You got lucky that someone came in and did what they did to make it safe enough for me to live in without always worrying about a fire, but the entire house needs to be rewired. I really wish that you could get out of there, Phoenix, and get someplace safer. He's probably out here only offering up scraps to pay them. Dude, the guy who was here to fix stuff was the first that told me most consider him crazy. Did the finger around the ear thing. He's got a great reputation. Oh, probably. He actually tried to up my rent while I'm taking an abatement because of all the problems. I'm like, you can't do that. He's seriously such a great guy. And don't get me started on him trying to get me to feel sorry for his financial situation after the gas leak in my house killed my pup, insisting I owed him full rent. Seriously, great guy. Wonderful guy. Yes, Yellow Chaos. She's something else. I'm glad Cielo keeps making an appearances. It is a happy place. Yeah. She is. Yeah, I know. Bugsy's looking at me like, what is she on? Why is she acting like this? Yeah, I know. I'm gonna have to get a baggie. Because I don't think that the crab treat bag is gonna close. And she's just gonna keep working at it if she can smell it. So no, I took them. They're not in there anymore. They gone. My cat. Anywho, I think that's the plan. Is finish this, and then move on to the first rule of Climate Club, and see if I can't get through that. Because I bet you, if I start the first rule of Climate Club with you all, I'll be able to finish it with Kelly. Let's see. Phoenix says, switching gears. Since there's nothing I can do about that, and I don't want to be any crankier while hot. Fair. So what are you guys doing while we sprint? Obviously, I'm reading. And I'm sure he knows that the people he's renting to probably can't afford / have the ability to get a lawyer and stuff to sue him. That's true. That is probably very, very true. Today's high was 95. I'm seeing 99 in the next few days forecast. Ew. Ew. No bueno. I think my high was in like the mid 70s today. Right now it is 73. And the hottest day I have currently forecast between now and August 6th is Sunday with a high of 85. And the low for tonight is going to be 48. So overnight it's going to be 48, which means my air conditioner will be off, which means when I film my 5 on Friday for anticipated releases, which I need to do tonight, and when I film my vlog update tonight, I'll be able to do it right here at my desk and not in the hallway with the orange light. Oh, I'm on the list to get into housing. Have been for about a year. Guess who's the chairman of the board for it? That's right, current slumlord. I really, really hate the town that you're in, Phoenix, and I wish there was a way I could whisk you away from it. You've got this. I need to finish transferring my series that start with B over to the new spreadsheet. Then I have no idea. I have a lot of reading on my docket, but I need to edit too. I think I would need to read 1,300 pages to finish everything that I have as a potential read on my July TBR, and that's just not a thing that's going to happen. Oh no, Phoenix. I hate that so much. Agreed. I'm trying to figure out a lawyer, but I currently have some power in that he can't up my rent, has to accept a lower abated rent, and if he wants to challenge me, we go to court. Well, I hope you can figure out a lawyer and find one to help you with this, because you really need to not be there and dealing with him anymore. I'm assuming that you can only get on the housing list of the town that you're living in. Like, you can't get on the housing list of somewhere you would like to move. I wish I could figure out a way out. I'm exploring every option I can think of and always open to ideas from others. That's me with my situation right now. Like, long term. I think I'm at somewhere over 1,000. Doesn't help my audiobook currently is Way of Kings. 40 minutes of listening yesterday got me a whole 3% into it. Yeah, that sucker is like, who? I almost listened to Edge Dancer today. I thought about it. And then I was like, I don't feel like adult fantasy right now. You can get on any housing list if I can apply in person. Dang. I was going to say, because, get on a housing list near me, but I don't think you're going to be able to apply there in person. Alas, I don't think that's in the cards. Of course, not being able to afford a car, that's pretty much impossible, right? That stinks. That really stinks. I wish I had more ideas for you, Phoenix. 45 hours of audiobook, though I'm listening on 2 times speed currently. Once my brain gets used to it, I'm sure I can speed it up. I've done that. Well, yes, I know, so could I, assuming I could find a ride there, but also absolutely fucking not. I know there would be a limit. It would probably be 2 max, and there's, I'm trying to think, like at least 3 that just would not function without me. Like, I'm one of the few people that can touch Coco, and I'm the only one that can touch bugs. The fact that you have to go in person is so restricting. I can't think of the right word for it, but there has to be other options. I feel like it's not fair to disabled people who may not have an easy time traveling for various reasons that they have to apply in person, especially in this day and age. I can understand if we were talking about like the 70s when there was no computers and stuff, but like I don't understand now when you can do so much via stuff like I wouldn't have this community if it wasn't for the fact that I can do this with you all. Something eventually has to come up, you would hope. You'll eventually find something because to think otherwise is just not okay. That's what I keep telling myself, is that somehow me and my dad are settling into a routine, and I think that I'd rather stick with what I know, and hopefully that'll give me time to figure out an option, you know. For the long term. Yeah, there's a word for it being not fair to disabled folk and such, not inaccessible. There's a bigger word that my brain is blanking on. I'm trying to think of your word. Not inaccessible. It is inaccessible, but that's not the word I'm thinking of. I get what you're going there, and my brain doesn't want to come up with the word either. Outside of, discrimination. I know some made exceptions during the pandemic, but most won't or can't now, which is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It is one of those things where, like, well, you could work from home during the pandemic, but now that we're back, we want you in the office, even though you were just as efficient at home, if not more so. Discrimination. Discriminatory. Discriminatory. Yeah, see, my brain is, it's in that vein. Amanda said no, but that's also a fitting word. It is. For sure. Okay, first thing during sprint is to figure out this word. And I think on that note, it is a good time to kick off the first sprint because we have been chatting for a bit. So let's dive into our first sprint. I will see everyone in 30. How did we do? I'm now on page 191. The writing in this is so good, but he's such an incredibly hard read. Especially given, the real world stuff going on. And Fenix suggested the word Amanda was looking for was cruel. Fenix said happy first sprint. Hello, Sue. How are you doing tonight? Amanda said hey to Sue, and Sue said hey to Amanda. And Sue fell asleep waiting for sprints to start. I can't stay awake in this heat. Been there. And Fenix says relatable, Sue. Also hi. My problem is I can't stay awake or asleep in this heat, so I end up sleep deprived with fitful sleep. That is the worst possible scenario. And Sue said hi. Fenix, it hit 103 here today, 92 in the house. It's crazy. That sounds miserable. As I sit here in my, my hoodie and my beanie with a blanket over my lap because my room is nice and cold. It's not been as hot here at 95. My body just can't regulate this kind of heat, which is fair. If it was that hot in my room, y'all wouldn't be seeing me because there's no way I could sprint with that. Though, fun fact, I have a cousin who is big into computers. And his mom called today while I was sleeping. I now have her email address, so I can email her what exactly I want to do with my computer, like what I'm planning on using it for, and he's going to help me find a new computer. So in theory, I should be getting a new computer at some point. Because one of the silver linings of everything with my mom was that I mentioned my computer issues to one of my aunts, and my aunt went, well, your cousin is really into computers. Let me talk to him and see. I'm sure he'd be willing to help you figure out if you tell us what you use your computer for and what you're looking for. Because obviously, depending on what you're using your computer for, there's this computer that's like really good for this and this computer that's really good for that. So once he knows exactly what I'm planning on using it for, he can help me find the best computer and good deals and stuff like that. So that is very exciting. I just have to sit down and do that. I basically think with my computer, I want to be able to sprint. So I want to be able to live stream. I miss being able to play games. Because I think the one time I tried to play Sims, my computer just did not work. And the one and only time I can remember getting the blue screen of doom, I was on Twitch. And I haven't used Twitch on my computer since then. And I wasn't even streaming on Twitch. I was just watching a video on Twitch. I would also like to learn how to use OBS instead of like Restream and stuff, because I think that could be beneficial in the long term. And so I need to look into learning how to do that. So that is something I'm going to note, is that I want to be able to play games on my computer. Not tons of games, but it would be nice to play a game once in a while. And then to be able to use OBS and to, stream and stuff. Do live streams. Because I also thought it might be interesting on a night where I'm not really feeling like reading if I was like, say, on Twitch. And I use that to play games with y'all. Like, you guys could watch me game and hang out and, just do something a little different. Though you're looking at 99 in my forecast, which probably means over 100 for the rest of the month. Yucky. It's about 80-ish in here. I have no idea what temperature it is in my room other than chilly. I couldn't find the word. It'll come to me at like 4:23 a.m. or something. But I finished putting in the B series and had some ice cream. I'm also covered in a blanket and snuggling because it's cold. Yes, it is cold. But yes, that's when the stuff comes to me. It is exciting news. It's one of those things that I forget I have, like, I don't know, at least a dozen cousins on my mom's side. And it never occurred to me to reach out to like one of my aunts or something and be like, hey, is anybody in the family really like knowledgeable on computers? Because I need a new one, but I don't quite know what I'm looking for and I could use some help. I tend to forget, like, my family mostly, like, well, not mostly, but a good chunk of them live in New Jersey. That's where my mom grew up. So I have lots of family in New Jersey and I don't see them. So it's like out of sight, out of mind. I forget that I have this whole extended family over here. Wahoo, I'm glad he's going to be able to come through for you. Me too. Because Kelly was literally talking on her sprints about computers and about how her husband was looking into it and how they're only just going to get more expensive. So she had been hoping to get like another year out of her computer and decided, no, let's not do that and get a new one. I think that's what, but basically, like, she had been hoping to get another year, but like computers are only going to get more expensive. So I might as well get mine now, even if I could make this one work for longer. It is. It is. And then I can maybe work on getting this in once I have the new computer to somewhere to see if they can fix it up so that it like runs a little bit better. Specify that you might want to play something like The Sims 3 because that ought to cover other games you'd want to play. Oh, I plan to use Paralives. I don't have any intention of playing The Sims. So I'm gonna be like, I want to play like games like Paralives, and there's been like a couple of others that I've seen recently, and I haven't really been able to look at new games because my computer couldn't handle, just the idea that I might want to play some computer games. I haven't been able to because I know my computer can't run it. I'd say that you'd want a computer that can handle Sims 3 well, not just barely. Well, if I was going to specify The Sims, I'd say Sims 4, not Sims 3. Because then Twitch ought to work as well, though specify that you'd want to be able to play on Twitch as well. I will. That I may want to dabble with that at some point. I should actually, considering what Amanda says here. Sims is definitely a hefty game. It can run on a lot of computers, but it takes up a lot. Definitely will need a desktop if you're going to stream some games. A laptop won't be ideal for that. Yeah, that was my thing, is like, I don't know if I want another laptop or if I want a desktop. And that was more of one of my questions I wanted to ask somebody is, based on what I want to do with my computer, would you recommend a desktop or laptop? Because this laptop, I think, is probably fixable and doable to do basic stuff on if I have a computer that can do all of the other stuff, And I'm sure there's got to be some place around here where I can bring my computer to be fixed. But yeah, I should mention like Paralives, The Sims 4, because The Sims 4 will cover a lot, especially considering all of the expansions and stuff. Yep, Amanda, that's why I used it as one of the specs when I was getting my custom computer made. Makes sense. Yep, I got a desktop when I first started getting into games because I knew I wanted to stream games, and that's a lot of power needed in a computer. Also, specify that you want a quiet one. There are some that come with quiet fans, and like my case is specifically meant to keep it quiet. That's a good idea too. I will mention that specifically that my friend mentioned that their computer is specifically designed to be more quiet because the noise can get to them, and with my sensory issues, that would be nice too. No, you misunderstood. If the computer can handle Sims 2, it can handle stuff like Paralives. That's setting a higher bar than saying Paralives. Yeah, that's what I said. I backtracked. I was like, I should just say Sims 4 because if it can handle the Sims 4, then it can probably handle anything. Yeah, if a computer can run Sims 4 smoothly, it can do anything. Again, Sims 3 with its open world takes more resources than Sims 4. So if it can handle Sims 3, then it can handle most any game you'd want to play. I'm not saying you'd have to play Sims 3. I'm saying use it as a measure. Yeah, I could literally say I want to be able to play games like Sims 3 and 4 and Paralives and stuff like that. And I just haven't really looked at games because I knew my computer wasn't going to be able to handle them. So it would be nice if when I got a new computer, I was able to play those. I'll let you know the case I have so you can tell him. Nice. You mean Sims 3, not Sims 2. Yes, I followed that. But I realized it was one of those things that as you were saying things, I was like, oh, I bet you, because I was putting together the dots of the open world. I haven't thought about Sims 3 in a long time. Definitely mention the possibility of streaming games because you'll need a computer that can run the game and OBS streaming. Not to get too techie, but you will definitely need a desktop, in my opinion. Yeah. And I think for me, this is an important investment given how much I use stuff like this to fill in a gap when it comes to my ability to socialize. And maybe I will never stream games, but like I would like to have the option if that's something I chose to do, So I will mention all that. Feel free, both of you, to shoot me these ideas on Discord so I don't forget of things you think I should mention. Have you ever noticed that even those whose computers can handle Sims 4 still tend to crash when they play Sims 3? That's why it's a bigger resource hoard. No, because I don't watch Sims 3. I have found Sims, like if I try to watch a Sims 3 video, I usually start to get ill. Like it gives me a massive headache. It's an email. Give all the details you can think of. He'd be able to better tell you options based on that. Let you know what you're able to do with certain things and your minimum. Nice. I think that was my thing is I was like, I don't really want to write this all in a text. I want to be able to like write things down in an email and save it as a draft and then come back to it later when like my brain like give it some more thought. Hello, welcome in. What are you working on tonight? Reader's Retreat. I am reading Sir Callie and the Witch's War. My computer can handle Sims 3 with all the packs running. That's a lot of packs. And Phoenix said hi to Reader's Retreat. And Amanda said it'll definitely be an investment, but so worth it for you, I would say. I agree. I agree. And Amanda said hi to Reader's Retreat. And Phoenix. Reader's Retreat said hi to Phoenix. I almost said that backwards. And Phoenix said, Manda and I can help you with an email probably, right, Manda? Probably. I think if I have, because I can also copy and paste what I've got writing, you guys can help me, make sure I'm covering all my bases here. And Reader's Retreat said hi to Manda. On that note, let's get back to sprinting. I'll unpause the timer, and I will see everyone in 30. How did we do? I'm putting some thoughts on this in the Discord. I'm just making sure I've got my spoiler thing. Yeah, okay, there. Oh. Oh, and for the update, I'm now on page 251 of acknowledgements. 382. You do not regret making a big investment in your computer at all. I agree. I think it is definitely a good investment, especially with the way things are going. Like, you kind of need a computer, and given my agoraphobia and stuff, and the fact that I'm even more housebound now than I used to be, I think I definitely need a computer that is going to allow me to continue to connect with the outside world. You're reading Beyond the Ice Limit by Preston and Child. I hope you are enjoying it. Oh yeah, I mentioned the need for a good cooling system. I went the extra fans route. Again, this is where the quiet case helps. Instead of liquid cooling system, he can figure out what's best for you. I will mention that. I will add that. And I followed. Fennec said, whatever, LOL, typing it. Tired typing is hard. It is. Finished the video essay I had been watching last sprint, where they pointed out how Little House on the Prairie and The Gilded Age happened at the same time, and used an episode of Little House, the original, to show what was happening in actual history at that time and how it's all connected. Interesting. Can't say I ever thought about whether they were happening at the same time. And let's see, Sue is at page 21 of 164 in The Cage of the Cure by Deanne Brin. Well, I hope you are enjoying it. You're off to a good start. I'm enjoying this, but there are parts that are absolutely infuriating. And if you've read Sir Callie, then you don't need to have read this one to understand where that's coming from, because of the way Sir Callie is written. You know how Esme Smythe-Smith writes things that are absolutely infuriating. It is such a good middle grade series. It's very relevant to what is currently happening. Little House on the Prairie and The Gilded Age are very relevant to what is currently happening. Well, really. I never watched Little House on the Prairie, but I have vague recollections of my mom reading Little House to the Prairie to me as a kid. The baby ended up asking for some scrambled eggs, so I made them. She didn't want them anymore, which is fine because the baby ate them after her nice long nap before bed. It's exactly when you want to take a nice long nap. My mom also asked for a scrambled egg for dinner. A scrambled egg. And me and my dad both looked at her and went, just the one, nothing else. And she's like, yeah, what's wrong with that? I'm like, okay, tell me what you would have had for dinner this time last year, and that it was just a scrambled egg. Getting her to eat food, man. And I know we have to stay on her because she needs to eat, and if left to her own devices, she just wouldn't. You think they did a great job with the video? Well, that's good. The toddler asked for eggs, not the baby. I was very confused because I was like, so when did the baby want the eggs? Because they took a nice long nap. So, like, when did you make the eggs to have the baby nap to then want the eggs afterwards? I really watched the show. I love the books and love the non-fic about the Ingalls more, and got to see some of the actual places when we went to South Dakota to see where my mom was born. I do not think I watched the show. I know, what is his name? I can picture him. I think he played the dad in Little House on the Prairie, and I think his name is Michael. Or maybe he played the angel. Maybe he played the angel Michael. Oh, that's gonna drive me nuts. but I know him as Little Joe from Bonanza. I tried to get eggs when I went out to run errands, but they were out. They're not getting regular shipments. That stinks. I keep telling my mom, I'm like, listen, scrambled eggs are really good with some ketchup. And my mom goes, my mom is not a big ketchup eater. Hey, at least your mom wanted an egg. And an egg is pretty good if only eating a little bit. My problem is the fact that she needs to be eating more than 500 to 600 calories, and the easiest things to get into her right now are something like an egg or like a fruit cup. And we're like, no, you need to eat. And I get that you're not hungry and you don't feel like food and you feel like if you eat anymore, you're going to burst or get sick. But that means you need to constantly be eating all throughout the day, little teeny tiny bits, so that those calories add up by the end of the day. Toddler wanted one. Baby woke up when I went to make them. Then she ate both of them since toddler didn't want it anymore. Well, at least somebody ended up eating it. And eating that could help her get hungry later. She basically hasn't. That's the problem, though, is she very, very, very rarely feels hungry. And I told her when I was having my issue, I ate even though I wasn't hungry. And it was like my body remembered, oh, wait, I can feel hungry. So, like, maybe, like, last night she had these. So my mom was a CNA, and there was these, like, ice cream type cups that they used to give the residents to help beef up their calories in their meals when they weren't eating tons. And my mom used to make milkshakes out of them, and we ended up getting some. They're called Magic Cups, and they're like little teeny tiny ice cream cups. They're not that big. They're about that, that big around, and maybe that deep. And they're 290 calories with like 9 grams of protein. And we're like, you need to eat multiple of these every day if you're not going to eat anything else. And last night she wanted a milkshake. So my dad made her a milkshake. And she drank all of that. And then she went to bed because this was at like midnight. And when she got up to go to the bathroom the first time, she was like, I'm hungry. Give me something. Like, and I got her to eat a fruit cup because she was hungry. And I'm like, have you ever considered that you actually ate something of substance and then woke up and went, oh, wait, I'm hungry. Like your body is realizing, oh, wait, I can eat. I go, it's not that you're not hungry. It's that your brain is not getting the signal that you're hungry. Michael Landon. Yes, that's it. Mm-hmm. I know him as Little Joe, and I had a crush on him when I was a kid. Little Joe, when he was Little Joe. Michael Landon also played an angel in Touched by an Angel. Now that I watched with my dad. He loved it. I watched Bonanza with my dad. Sick brain is getting foggy. It's good that she's eating, but she does need to eat more. Yes. I know, and she knows, and out of curiosity, does it help you when someone pushes you to do things when you're not ready? Depends. Honestly, it depends. But my problem is truly, she would not eat if we didn't go, would you like this? Would you like that? And as somebody who was a CNA and used to tell me stories of how she handled patients at work, I'm treating her the exact same way that she treated her residents. She had one resident where they would go in and you go, would you like to shower? And she'd say no. Well, my mom didn't do that. She'd go, okay, it's time to shower, and would start doing things. She wouldn't phrase it as a question. So I've been trying to not phrase it as a question and more of a, so we're going to eat now. What do you want? Like I said, it truly depends. I can tell you I find it harder to eat when people give me shit about it. Even if it's meant to be caring, it's not like it helps. My thing is, though, if I truly believe if we said nothing, she would never ask for food. She just wouldn't eat. And then we'd have to sit there and watch her starve. No. Basically, by the time I get up, she's kind of eaten enough that she doesn't want something that heavy. Exactly. Meaning your mom knows what she's doing and doesn't need to be lectured about it. You ever lecture me about eating and you'll find me pissed off. You didn't get her to eat with the fruit cup. She chose to eat. And again, lecturing her when she's doing what you want is bad ass. Is that supposed to say ass backwards? I think that's what it's supposed to say. And now it's like, there we go. Everyone had a crush on Little Joe. I'm sure that a lot of people had a thing for Little Joe. Yeah, she did eat without you saying something when she asked for something to eat, and you seem to be missing that. That is the first time since she's been home over 2 weeks ago that she's asked for food. Okay, that's even more annoying. Maybe you might not want to try to encourage me to eat, or I'm going to back off and not talk to you. Okay, it feels like two completely different situations, and not something I really want to dive into right now on sprints, when sprints are supposed to be my way of escaping a lot of this. I don't think Chris is missing the fact that she chose to eat on her own, but is emphasizing what led her to that point. Yes, I was trying to stress the fact that, like, you actually ate something, you gave your body some food, and I'm trying to make her make that connection that, you know, just because your brain isn't getting the signal that you're hungry doesn't mean that you're not. And she has cancer. She needs to eat. She's lost like 40 pounds. It's scary. This makes no sense to my brain. It just doesn't. So you were one of the few that never had a crush on Little Joe. Okay, but still celebrate when she did choose to eat on her own, not by making a big deal out of it. We do. It's just really, really, really hard. Yeah, backing off, me too. Sorry, dropping it. The one other thing I'm going to say on this is that I feel so helpless because there's absolutely nothing I can do to do anything for her, and we have absolutely no answers. So we know she has cancer, but we don't know anything else. And it's like nobody seems to care enough to tell us anything. And I can't fix that. But this is something I can at least try to help her with and remind her that, you know, she needs to eat. Point out how few calories she has, because the other thing is a lot of the being on oxygen or lack of oxygen and this woman that is making her sleepy sometimes makes her very confused. She doesn't always remember what she has eaten and hasn't eaten. And like yesterday, she was trying to unmute the TV, or no, she was trying to look up the score of the Phillies game on our TV remote and couldn't figure out why she couldn't get the TV remote to load like it was her cell phone. So some of it is me going, Mom, you've only had this, 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 and this. It's not enough food. I know how Chris feels. I felt the same when my husband wouldn't eat. It took me a long time to find something he would eat. And it is. She'll go, well, I can't think of anything. Do you have any ideas? And we'll throw these ideas out, and she'll make faces. And I'm like, I don't know what you want from me. I'm like, I've named every food I can possibly think of, and I would buy you fresh unicorn if I could, if that's what you wanted. But like, you have to want it. I'm sure you're also not explaining exactly how it happened as well. I'm sure you weren't attacking her at all. No. Like I said, I'm trying to remind her that, like, I understand you don't feel hungry, but like you've had like a fruit cup and an egg today. That's not enough food. Because she'll go, no, I had a yogurt. I'm like, no, that was yesterday. And Phoenix says, I understand why. I'll talk to you about it later. Yes. Okay. So we're going to move on from this conversation because, again, sprints are. Feel free to give me ideas, because it is absolutely terrifying to be on the end of watching somebody not eat and waste away. It is. I'm trying really, really, really hard. Like, really hard. And like I said, sometimes she just doesn't remember what she's eaten. So it's like, you have to remind her that no, she hasn't eaten as much as she thinks she has. This is a good point. I'm not like I think me and Phoenix are now on the same page a little bit, where it took us a minute to see where Phoenix, as somebody who does have trouble eating, might be able to give me some advice on how to approach things a little bit better, so that I am being more positive and will have a better shot of actually getting my mom to eat. So on that note, I'm going to go back to my book, because at least I know that'll have a happy ending in theory. So I will see everyone in 30. How do we do? I'm now on page 315. It's going to take me 2 sprints. So I'll do 2 more sprints, and then we'll wrap up. And Phoenix said I'm doing a wonderfully fantastic job. I'm trying my best. It's not about what you're doing. It's how you're going about it. So yes, which is why I'm like, I've never been in this situation before, and I'm terrified constantly. So if you have some advice for what I could be doing differently that you think would be more positive and more likely to get me the result that I'm going for, then by all means. And we had a little bit of thing. Sue said that I was, but Amanda corrected them with my correct pronouns. And I appreciate Sue acknowledging that. Pronouns can be tricky, especially if you're not really thinking about it and you're focused on other stuff. I've done it before, so no worries. Aside from getting up and down 800 times to tend to kids, I read like 3 pages of Tales from the Territory. Ooh, 3 big pages. Also, for reference, when I don't have comments on here, that's why I have the they, them in my name on the screen, just so everybody knows. I also do it on Discord, because if you don't know somebody, you don't know what their pronouns are. Which is why until I, and unless specified by somebody on here, I will always use they, them, because I don't know. Especially when, like, obviously, some names are very gendered and give a clue as to the potential gender of a person, whereas other names might not. Like before, we had a Reader's Retreat on here, and there was nothing in there that told me anything about who they were as a person. You're still trying to settle into something, Phoenix? I am actually going to finish this tonight, and I wouldn't have if I hadn't done sprints, because this is not why. I think I would have picked up something else or just not read. So y'all have got me through Sir Callie and the Witch's War. So, and this will be the 3rd book I finished today. And then I'm going to read The Climate Club, wherever the heck that has gotten to in my room in the last few months. I'm going to have to find that while I'm listening to my audiobook, because it's been on my TBR for a few months now, so there's like so many different places it could be. Oh. Hey, there's the last Olympian. I did indeed bring it down. Me and Omi are doing a buddy read of Percy Jackson. I am a they, them too. MB with a very gendered name. Yes. Which is why I'm like, for instance, you have a gendered name that like does not suggest your gender, but it is one of those things that like there's just some names where like gives you no clues whatsoever. Like you couldn't even begin to guess at a gender based on certain things, on certain names, because they're purposely designed to be completely like obscuring. I am also they, them, MB with a partially gendered name. I mean, my name is gendered, technically. I had to switch from reading Tales from the Territory on Kindle to NetGalley Reader on my web browser because the formatting of it was too messed up on Kindle, but reading on PC is slower. That stinks. It's one of the reasons I haven't done NetGalley, because I just don't read ebooks enough or have a desire to. I have thought, they were having a discussion on Kelly Sprints about like the Kindle Paperweight or Paperwhite or whatever it's called, and how that screen is designed to read more like an actual book as opposed to a screen. And I was tempted to look into that and maybe get one, because with everything that's going on with my mom, I can't use the library as much, so I'm going to be leaning more heavily on ebooks. And I was like, well, maybe I should get one of those just to help me with the reading. Seriously. It is a bright yellow book. How did it get up and walk away? I don't understand. Maybe it's in the hallway. I'm still looking for the Climate Club. People see the rose part and assume things. Yes. That can happen. And I followed. That's why I don't assume. Even if you have a name that suggests or seems gendered one way, I don't assume unless somebody tells me to use specific pronouns. It's just with, like I said, certain screen names they don't tell you anything. And like I said, mine is sort of gendered. I have been Chris my entire life. My entire life, because it is a nickname for my dead name. So and when I was younger, I was very, very particular about who was allowed to call me Chris and who wasn't. And when I'm scared or uncomfortable, I revert back to using my birth name. Even though the name I would like to be called eventually, when I'm in a situation where like it's safe and I don't have to be this version of myself anymore, is not Chris. And I cannot zoom in. NetGalley has audiobooks too. I mainly try to stick with audio and graphic novels, but I couldn't pass up a Travis Baldree. That is fair. My problem with audiobooks is, unless it's a new book in a series that like I've already read a bunch of books for, I tend to prefer to have a physical book to read along or an ebook because I'm learning everything. And if I just have the audiobook on, I will tune it out sometimes or struggle to follow things. I've been wondering about Kobo. I've heard something about them being easy on the eyes and stuff. I thought about that, but I did see that like you have to there's like a process you have to go through if you buy like a Kindle book, like an ebook via like Amazon, and to like get it so that it goes on there. And with my library, I don't know if I can. I'm wondering because I have, where is it? Do I have an ebook on my phone right now? Like on my account. Yes, I do. Okay. Let me make sure there's no identifying information here. Now granted, I did this with a Kindle, but I'm wondering if this EPUB thing would work. Because there's like a Kindle option, and I had sent it to the Kindle so I could read it on the Kindle. And then obviously I can just read it via Libby, but I prefer the Kindle version because of the colors. But it says EPUB, which is DRM free, which I think means I could send my library books to my Kobo, but I'm not 100% sure. You can help out with ebooks, don't worry about that. My other thing is that I also have some of the books I'm getting right now are off of Kindle Unlimited, and I don't know if you can use Kindle Unlimited on a Kobo. I know Libby sends straight to Kindle, but I do know there are some other e-readers that can have the Libby app instead. Yes, it does, but there are books that don't have a Libby version, and then you can't send it to Kindle without going through a ton of different steps. I've tried that before and got really annoyed. So definitely something I need to look into. For sure, because I think that could be a good investment too, given that I'm not able to go to the library as much as I would like to right now. I am planning on looking into their mail-in service. Like I'm going to pick a book and have them mail it to me so I can see how it works and just do it with the one book, because if it works, then I can do it with more, which would give me a few options, because I think you can only have like 8 books out at a time with that. And Omi is here. You don't know how Kobo works, but assumably EPUB should work. Yes, because I think if I had a book from Kindle, I would need to turn it into an EPUB thing with the DRM free thing to get it to go to my Kobo. So it is definitely something I am thinking about doing. And Amanda said, hey to Omi. On that note, I'm going to let the timer meow so I can get back to Sir Callie. And I will see you on 30. How did we do? I'm on page 351. I have 40 minutes left in my audiobook, which should take me like 13. And then I found my book. I can dive into this one. I will not be finishing this in one part of a sprint, because it's, let's see, 354 pages. So I feel confident that I won't be finishing all of that in one sprint. Let's see. Fennec says if it's DRM free, then yeah, it can be read on so many different e-readers. And Fennec said, hi, Omi. Amanda said, Kindle is the easiest, but obviously not wanting to support Amazon is a solid reason not to get Kindle. Mm-hmm. Kindle is trying to lock people out of DRM, I know. They suck. Amanda has landed on the reason I'm looking into Kobo. Mm-hmm. And Omi said, hey to Amanda and Fennec. And Sue said, hi to Omi. And Fennec says, if it's DRM free, you can download and own a copy. If it has DRM, you are renting the book. Same with audiobooks. And like, I know a bunch of people, when they saw that PlayStation, I think it was Sony, are doing away with like the discs for games, are like livid because they can take it away from you at any time. And Omi said hi to Sue. Amanda said, I should have done more research before getting my Kindle, but I had a gift card from a recall on my old air fryer, so I wanted to use it on that instead of something else coming up. Fair. And Fennec said, I got my Kindle secondhand, but I have a Kobo on my wish list someday, maybe. I keep meaning to jailbreak it, just haven't had the spoons. That is a big thing. When I need to replace this Kindle, I definitely will be doing more research and getting something in color. I have too many graphic novels to not have color. Mm-hmm. I think it's the Kobo with color I was looking into. Being I don't have the money, I put looking into it on hold, and I'm making the best of the Kindle I have. That makes sense. I just wonder with the color one, is it still going to have like, you know, the I want one where you feel more like you're reading paper, because I'm wondering if that'll help my poor little eyeballs. And part of the reason I was looking into color was so I could read graphic novels, being that's my main access to them. Mm-hmm. I really like my Fire tablet for reading. It's larger. A lot of people on YouTube have gone to Kobo because of the owning part, but then still use Kindle more. It's kind of like a bunch of people go to Storygraph but still use Goodreads. Once the middle child starts reading on her own, I may give her my Kindle and get something else, but there's a while before that will happen, so definitely not a worry right now. That's a future Amanda problem. I rarely use my Kindle Fire anymore. I find it harder to read on. I think the Kobo I was looking at is less like a tablet and more like a color e-reader. Yeah. And you're looking for a larger size one, though. Makes sense? I usually have to use the blue shade on the Fire, and even then it can be too much for my eyes. Yeah. I use, when I'm reading ebooks on the Kindle, I have like this, I use like a mint green page, and that seems to work better than like black on white or white on black. I don't buy ebooks. If it's not on KU, I go to the library. Kindle has a lot of free books. Plus, you can get free books from other sites fairly easily. A lot of the ebooks I have are either from the library, like I use from like the Libby app, or KU, or I got them for pennies. Or, and they're like indie authors, and I'm trying to support them. Hi, I'm reading The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. Nice. I'm finishing up Sir Callie and the Witch's War, and then we'll be moving on to the first rule of Climate Club in the last sprint. Fennec was looking into the Kobo Libre Color. I haven't even begun to look. It's only just a recent thing that I considered. You never had a problem, then I have to use reading glasses and they have a blue block. That would probably help. You don't usually buy ebooks either unless there's an indie author I want to support. Since they make next to nothing on KU, I use the library mostly or take advantage of free ebooks. I have a couple of, I've been using Smashwords to get a couple of things because it's harder to get the physical copies of indie books. Also, audiobooks from the library sound better on my Fire tablet. Interesting. You avoid Amazon where you can. There are necessities I will buy when I have to, but other than that, I'd rather not. I do the same thing. Now that I could see, but I can... Now that I could see, but I use my phone to listen to audiobooks or my computer. Mm-hmm. I understand, but Kobo is BNN, and they support AI authors. It's really a toss-up. So one, I didn't know Kobo was Barnes & Noble. But... two, I'm sure that Amazon supports AI authors, and they have just like my issues with Amazon didn't even start with the books. Like the book is just a drop in the bucket of my issues with Amazon. I get that, but Kobo Reader fits my needs better if I were to go for it. I've also been watching other e-readers not as well known. Amazon supports AI and buying off my country and destroying my life. Mm-hmm. That's why I said, like, I'm sure that Amazon is supporting AI authors too. However, like, this is a new thing, and I've had issues with Amazon going back before AI was even a thing. Like, that's just one in a long list of issues I have with Amazon. The reason I have a Kindle Fire is I bought it secondhand. And like I said, I will eventually jailbreak it. That won't make it any easier on your eyes, though, so moot point, really. That's fair. True Phoenix. Criminale has some great reviews of other e-readers. And Phoenix said, thank you, Sue. And Phoenix said, not just readers, but phones, too. Sue, perfect. These are the kind of reviews of all different kinds that I've been looking for. I already have a playlist to get to when I can. Nice. Happy time zone, my friend. I'm reading Mad as a Hatter tonight. Hello, Kelly. We're just about to, well, once I catch up on comments, we'll be starting our last sprint. So I'm glad you could pop in and at least say, hey. Your sprints, both sets of sprints, your morning time pirate sprints, and then I watched your 100 pages sprints back, allowed me to get through the entirety of the book I was reading, a death at something. A death in the small hours, and I was able to finish Breakers of the Code, which is an Aaron Hunter book, but is not a Warriors one. And I'm looking forward to it tonight because I'm hoping your sprints will help me get through this. And Amanda said, hey, Kelly. Also, Kelly, are you still enjoying Mad as a Hatter? Because I know on your sprints you are. Oh, Brightside Girl. Yes, Macy did drop the random prompts. They are not my style. I will not be doing the activity prompts. I am not a fan of reality television. I don't know what I'm going to read for that. I know I can read Starshipped because I'm pretty sure that has something to do with TV, but otherwise I'm like at a loss right now. And Sue said hi to Kelly. And Amanda said I added that to my watch later so I could check them out and maybe actually join this time. I've found their readathons fun. We'll see what I can do with it. Kelly got to page 98 of 196 and Mad as a Hatter. Nice. And then said hello. And Phoenix said, yep. But I was already boycotting Sony, though. Yep. But I was just making the note of, like, we have all these, like, songs and movies and games that we buy digitally. And it's like at any time they could just, poof, take it from us. And I think Sony made it worse by saying that if you didn't log in for a certain amount of time, they'd take the games. I'm pretty sure that's what I was seeing. I'm pretty sure it was like 2 years. Like if you hadn't logged into your account in 2 years, you would lose your account and any games that were attached to said account. I'm also looking into the paper kind. We can research together if you want. Absolutely. That would be good. I was going to say something else about the game thing. Oh, I had it and then I lost it. Maybe it'll come back around. Oh, it's why we're seeing the younger generation start to invest more in things like CDs and DVDs and vinyls. And we're getting a whole generation that is wanting to go back to physically owning things and having them in their house and stuff like that, which I do think is great. Amanda said, oh, and I read 13 pages this time. Yes, progress. A little more progress than last time. Smashwords, yes. I've gotten some good ebooks off of there. Hi, Jane. And then Phoenix said, oh, yeah, I also use Smashwords. Mm-hmm. Kobo is not owned by Barnes & Noble. Nook is the... See, that's what I thought. I was like, I thought Nook was Barnes & Noble. I didn't realize they had Kobo, too. That is good to know. I am... That makes me even more interested in a Kobo. I was very confused because I was like, it's also possible that, like, they had phased out the Nook and switched to Kobo. Like, it was a new product. So that's good to know, Kelly. And Sue said, thank you, Kelly. I was misinformed. And Amanda said Kobo is owned by Rakuten, I believe. I think I've heard of that. And Kelly said, correct, Manda. And Phoenix said, yes, Manda. That's what Sony plans to do. Mm-hmm. And Sue said, yeah, I know nothing about Rakuten. And Kelly said, and no worries, Sue. We all do the best we can. It just happens to be my industry. For instance, the owner of Smashwords is a friend of mine. They were bought by Draft2 Digital, but he still runs it. Interesting. I really like some of the, like, I have a couple of indie authors I found on there, and I've gotten their ebooks from there. It's really nice to have that option. I was hoping I was misinformed about Sony, but I'm not surprised. Nope. And Phoenix said I forgot they are Rakuten. I didn't know that. I've only just recently heard of Kobo's, so like this is all new information for me. Yep, you only purchase a license these days, not an actual copy. Mm-hmm. Which is one of the things I like about Libro, because Libro, you actually own it. And I believe with Bookshop, they say if you buy an ebook from them, you own it. It's your ebook now. I use Steam, but I'm more so recommending use GOG because they're DRM free. Yeah, see, I know nothing about this bit, which is why I'm like, I'm so out of the loop with games that like I would love to play them, but like there's all these sites and I got to figure that out too. I would really put my money into buying a license. It's so ridiculous. It's why I'm like, I know I could get this ebook for $3.99, and I might have to pay, you know, $12, $18 for the physical, but I'd rather have the physical because at least then I own it. And it's like, let's say I read this and I don't enjoy it. It's not my kind of book. Not that there's like something offensive in it, but I just don't, it's not the right book for me. I can pass this on to somebody who will enjoy it. Whereas with an ebook, you're stuck with it. You can't do anything with it. I try to buy physical media or borrow from the library. I do too. I only buy ebooks if there's like a really good deal. Like I said, they're indie authors and I want to try to support indie authors and, you know, help them out because we need more of that. And I also find that like the indie books I buy tend to be far more diverse. Or if I have no other option and no other way to get the book. And even then, if there is at all a possibility of me getting a physical copy, I will always go for the physical. Yep, still a physical media person unless it's like library or indie. You know what I mean? Yep. It's been a while since I was looking at ebooks since I can't actually afford one right now. That's all right. You just keep putting books on your wish list, and I just keep going, you know, I really want to buy a book, but I don't really have anything I want to buy. Oh, let's pick a wish list. Like for Anti-Prime Day, I was like, okay, my friends are all getting books. Here you go. For games, Steam and GOG for games. And ebook readers, yes. 90% of my books come from Goodreads winnings. I don't use Goodreads anymore. I'll use them as like a source because as much as I dislike Goodreads, there's a lot of information on there that isn't on Storygraph. Like when I'm looking for books coming out next month, I know they have a section on Goodreads that I can go and look and see what's coming out, and that will help me look for like new releases. However, I really don't like, I don't put anything on Goodreads anymore because I just want to use Storygraph. I really like Storygraph. I use Steam mainly, but Epic is my secondary. They have free games every week, and I've gotten some really good ones from that. See, if I ever get my computer, y'all are going to have to educate me on this stuff. I usually end up reading things via ebook first, then buy the physical if I love the book and will reread it. Say hi, Porky. He did it. You hear him? He said hi. And FedEx said, I keep forgetting about Epic. I have never heard of Epic. I had heard of Steam. That one I had heard of. Yeah. I haven't logged anything on Goodreads since sometime last year. I just switched to Storygraph, and I actually, like I said, I really like Storygraph. But sometimes it can be helpful to double check information because there'll be a book that's like not in there, or like it isn't listed as a series, and like I sometimes will easily double check on Goodreads, and like I said, they have a good section where you can find out books that are coming out soon. I only remember Epic because Discord reminds me when the free games go up. I have seen those, but I haven't really paid attention to the games. Hi to you too, Porky. Yes. They saying hi to you. And Omi says hello there. Also, Omi, before I forget, I have your birthday box, which is massively overdue, actually packaged up. I just need to find your address so that I can put it on the box, and my friend is going to hopefully mail it to the start of next week. Amanda, I need you to let me know when there's good free games. Yes. I mean, I would love to have them, but geez Louise, my computer couldn't take it. And Phoenix says, hi, you talked for us. See, you talked. And yes, we have some more kitty cam. Whoop. As he goes to fall. Amanda says, I'll try my best to remind you, Phoenix. Although if you don't, it's fine. I'll probably forget I said anything. There you go. I'll remember completely randomly one day and remind you on a completely random day. Hey, it's just a fun little thing. On that note, let's toss this up so we can get into our final sprint. And I will unpause the timer. And I will see everyone in here. How do we do? I finished Sir Callie and the Witch's War, 4.5 stars, and I got to page 37 of the first rule of Climate Club. Let's see, we're not going to need that. Amanda makes a good point. I can get the games now for when I have a computer that can handle them. That's probably smart. And Omi said, oh, thank you, about me finally mailing out their birthday box. Fennec said their life runs on random, so that works, about Amanda only remembering to let them know once in a while. And then Omi wanted to know if anybody had played Paralives yet. I have not, obviously, because my computer, but I've seen videos and it looks really neat. Speaking of gaming, let me listen to my audiobook and Farm Material and Genshin. I have phone games, mobile games. Well, one mainly, but I listen to my audiobook while I'm playing it. And Fennec says, "Yep, I've played Paralives. It's early access, buggy, but I really am liking it so far, and they've been pretty good about fixing and addressing bugs quickly, which is nice." Yes, I've heard good things. And Omi said, "I'm trying to decide about getting it or not. I've seen videos, but opinions of friends are better." That's true. Fennec said, "I got it discounted and because I wanted to support the devs." Another fun thing about watching videos is it also tells you, like, I'm somebody who can be sensitive to certain kinds of like graphics and the way things move. So like being able to watch videos tells me that it's not a game that's going to make me sick. Fennec got it because it was discounted and wanted to support the devs. And then I asked Omi, "Do you like playing most or building or cast or all of the above?" And said, "I will say I've had game and save breaking bugs and stuff, but I was ready for that going in. I kind of like it because it gives me the freedom to play and explore without getting too attached to what I'm doing." Nice. And that could be in part because I used a few mods like Sims 3 style camera and sometimes having it in Quebecois for practice. aka French Canadian, or Canadian French. You know what I mean. Seems appropriate being the devs speak Quebecois. I mean, if you have any questions about it, ask away in Discord if you want to. I don't usually rate or recommend games that are still early access because it's hard to say until it's complete. Makes sense? Which many games never are these days. I think it's obvious what I did that sprint. And your internet is having issues. That stinks. Amanda got 6. Woo! You're flying. Is that... Okay. I was like, that is Sanderson, right? And not Wheel of Time. I had a brain glitch there. 52 of 164 in the Cage and the Cure. Nice progress, Sue. You made it to page 120 of 196 in Mad as a Hatter. It's pretty good. Much more horror than romance. I'd finish it tonight, but it's been a long day and I need some sleep. What? He's very talkative tonight, y'all. Very, very talkative. Well, I'm hoping to sprint tomorrow, so maybe you can hang out with us tomorrow night, too. And Omi said I like all of the above, depending on my mood. And you're very welcome for sprints, Kelly. I look forward to watching your sprints from this morning back in a little bit. And Sue said, "Thanks for sprints. I need to figure out what I'm going to have for dinner." Nice. And Omi said, "I have to keep reading Way of Kings." I'm over here planning to read Edge Dancer, and you all are still on Way of Kings. Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining us, Sue. I'll have this book done in no time. But yeah, Sanderson, starting the Stormlight Archives, I believe. Yep, it's book 1 of the Stormlight Archives. We read Mistborn Era 1 first, and then our plan was... I'm trying to remember. I think then we read... How did it break down? I know we've read Elantris. Also, Fennec texted me to tell me their internet crapped out, in case you're wondering where Fennec went. We've read Atlantis. Where is, or Elantris, or let me see. Yeah, we went The Final Empire, The Well of Ascension, and The Hero of Ages. Then we did Warbreaker, Trust of the Emerald Sea. Then we did The Way of Kings, Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, Words of Radiance, and now we're on Edgedancer. And I think we decided, right, Omi, that we were going to go and start Mistborn Era 2, and then go back and forth between Mistborn Era 2 and the Stormlight Archive. Amanda gonna beat me through Way of Kings. I only have Edgedancer. The one behind on The Realm of the Elderlings. You still have to read Trust too. Yeah, and you're behind in Warriors too. I'm waiting for them to lap you. Both Amanda and Text. I read Mistborn Era 1, and then this is my next one. I think there's a short story in between, but I decided to skip that for now. We're reading it based on the way Sanderson suggested to read it in a video he posted on his YouTube. So that's the order we've chosen to go with. You're driving me nuts. Do you know how hard it is to read comments? Yes, Mistborn Era 2. So yeah, once I finish with Edgedancer, then I need to figure out the next book in Wax and Wayne. Or the first book, I think it's called The Wax and Wayne. Omi, I'm only going to beat you because I want it finished before August. Well, if you catch up to us, you can read with us. Like I said, I'm on Edgedancer, which I think Edgedancer was supposed to be May and June, so we're not. It's probably going to do July and August because we both got behind. So then we would start Wax and Wayne in September and October, and then November, December we would go to Oathbringer, I believe. Okay. I love you. Thank you. You're currently working on Twilight. I haven't read that in years. I think his website mentioned it, but I can't remember exactly. Oh, ours is definitely a video where he talks about it. Also, speaking of Sanderson, I believe I pre-ordered one of his books, but I'm pretty sure it is a sequel to the Starsight series. I think that's what it's called, Starsight, with Spencer, his YA sci-fi. Haha, yeah, I can't finish it by then. Yeah, and then I have The Last Olympian, which I did find. I will be finishing this week, Sir Callie, which is a buddy read me and Omi were doing. And I have 5 Broken Blades sitting here waiting to be picked up, which is another buddy read me and Omi plan to do. Oh, I won't catch up unless this book captures me so much I can't wait to continue. I'll be waiting for the series TBR Jar of Doom to tell me I have to. I can't do that with series like that. I forget way too much, and then I have to reread them, and I don't want to read The Way of Kings multiple times just to get through the series, which is why I'm doing the buddy read. You're on page 293 since April. I don't remember how many days. Let's see. How many days do y'all think The Way of Kings took me? Because Omi's going for months. And Amanda's looking at weeks. You did finish The Last Olympian. I don't even know if I put it on my July TBR. It's probably going to get pushed to August. And your Callie books arrived, so I can read those too. Nice. The Rune of Kings, I need to start too. Yeah, well, I mean, you got to let me know when we're reading this so I can add it to my very bloated TBR. So any thoughts on how long it took me to read The Way of Kings? Which was last December, by the way. I read The Way of Kings in December. All 1,007 pages of it. I still owe Wrath 2. That one I've been putting off, though, because I know it's going to crush me. So hopefully you've got an idea in your head. So I started it on December 17th and read 150 pages. Then on December 18th, I read 93. On the 19th, I read 371. And then on the 20th, the day I finished it, I read 393. So it took me 5 days to read a 1,000-page book. And I would bet if I went back through my reading log that I was reading other things at the same time. On 3 times speed, probably a few days. Yeah. I can pop up my reading log and tell you what else I was reading at the same time. Because I have it. Let's share this tab instead. And we'll make me little. So this is last year's reading log. And we'll scroll all the way down to December. July, August, September, October, November, December. So December 17th. Yeah, I read, let's see. So I read 4 hours of Witchy Reservation and 2 hours of Aristotle and Dante. Then I finished Aristotle and Dante on the second day of reading Way of Kings. The third and the fourth day of Way of Kings was just the Way of Kings. Oh, wow. Oh, no, it took me 4 days. 1, 2, 3, 4. It took me 4 days. I thought it took me 5. So, yeah, those 2 days where I read 3 hours, or I read almost 400 pages, that was all I read. But I also managed to squeak in Witchy Reservations and Aristotle and Dante discover the secret of the universe at the same time. A week? It was actually 4 days. I miscounted. A 5-day work week. You're close. Yes. According to this, it was 4 days. 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th. I think... When did I read book 2? I think book 2 took me longer. I think. Now we're going to find out I'm completely wrong, and it was actually faster to read book 2. Let's peek. Let's see. I read 285 pages on day 1, 68 pages on day 2. I took the third day off. Yep. Okay. My dad was like, okay. Nice. I'm getting a before bed update. So I took the 9th off, so that would be 3 days. I read 281 pages on the 4th day. I read 165 pages on the 5th day, and then 288 pages on the 6th day. So Words of Radiance took me 6 days. 5 days, now I feel challenged. So I'm at technically 2 already. I started the 22nd and read 33 pages. And then today I got 45. I just need to read over 500 pages a day. This will be fine. Oh, so 1,000 pages tomorrow. Got it. I read really fast. I also don't have kids, which helps. I have cats, but I don't have kids. So that helps. Tomorrow I won't be able to read as much because I am going to get my hair done. My hairstylist is great. She's going to pick me up. So my hair is all clean. I haven't brushed it yet because it was still damp when I started sprinting and I just tossed a hat on. But you can see how faded my hair is. And if I do this, can you see how shaggy? Like, I should not have that hair. And I'm sure my cowlick is sticking out terribly in the back, but you can see all the faded. Lots of red and orange in there. The green's kind of there. No, that's yellow. That's yellow. This is a green. The green's faded. I'm not sure I see the blue and the purple. I think that's kind of faded into like almost like a pinky color. So I'll be doing that tomorrow. And then once I get back from that, I will eat dinner, and then hopefully I will be back here sprinting so I can actually get some solid reading done. And Omi says you can do it, Manda. Yes, I believe in you, Manda. They're all sick right now anyway. I'll have them sleep all day for legal reasons. This is a joke. Well, I mean, that is, they shouldn't be rambunctious right now if they're sick. They should be resting and healing up, letting their body fight off whatever it is they've caught. This would be a good time for them to read. I mean, granted, I'm pretty sure the two youngest can't read yet, but your oldest, it's a good day to curl up in bed and read. Anywho, on that note, thank you all for joining me for sprints. I'm going to head out now, and yeah, we'll see you all. I don't know what I was trying to say there. I think I tried to combine two words, and then it didn't come out right. I will see you all tomorrow, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Night, everyone.